right before your very eyes, we're going to lay out a page. See if this works. So here's our folder for the issue. So inside, we're going to work on page 1 on the Coffee House article. And we know it's on page 1 because our editor-in-chief has already decided it's on page 1. So let's find the article. It's here somewhere. Okay. There it is. All right, here's our Coffee House article. Great, so it has all the good things. It has a headline, it has a subheader, it has the article, the journalist's name, the position title, and we have all of the paragraphs. We'll want to get rid of those spaces there. We do not want tab marks because those will show up on our article. We don't want that. Let's get rid of that quickly here. And this one is formatted fairly nicely. There's a space between each paragraph. We definitely want that, so let's save that. Great, so this is now prepped. Now let's find our photograph. So here's already organized, and these are the 5 photographs that we have. And the strongest photograph, this one's a great picture, although it's nicer to show more students sometimes, so I think 270 is our winner. So that's our picture there. Here's our article. So let's go into InDesign and put it together. Whenever you're doing a layout, you really want to start with the largest elements first and lay out the picture. The way you do layout is kind of the way that you live your life. You want to start with the big priorities and move on to the smallest priorities. So the big priority here is the photograph. Put in the photograph first, and then the text will fill up around it. So we can leave a lot of the elements the same. This picture is a great picture, so I think we might actually do possibly a 4-column layout. Maybe we'll try it as 3 for now. So first step is to get that picture in. So our photograph is here, and everything's organized nicely so we don't get any broken links. So let's try the 3-column layout first. It's a matter of dragging it in. Not too bad. So let's use the white arrow tool and right-click, fitting, fit content proportionally. And that might work actually. This picture could benefit from going a little bit up there. That gives us more room for the text. This is a pretty long article, so this might be necessary. Yeah, that looks good there. Let's try that. Now we'll need to get a caption for this. Often you'll have to write the caption if the photographer hasn't written it. So I'm not really sure who this group is, but maybe we'll say this group. We'll figure that out later. We'll come back to that. I do know this was photographed by Sabrina, so let's go and put in the photographer caption, or credit rather. Let's see if we're happy with that. That looks pretty good actually. We'll just push that up a little bit. There, that's a pretty good crop. Okay, so let's get the baseline of that frame all the way up there. Now just looking at the spacers here, this spacer is 0.125 inches, so that's our spacer we'll use between here and there. And then here is where we need our new caption later. And then we have 2 of those little spacers there. Each one of those is 0.125 inches. Alright, so let's grab one of these. That's our spacer for the opposite end. Paste that in there. So now we'll just make a frame for the photographer. Sometimes there may or may not be a frame there already. It's just so easy to reuse elements. Now we need to select that and then use the character styles, and we'll choose photo credit. And then this needs to be right justified. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so let's work on the headline. Sometimes headlines are too long. We have to use the point size here, so we might have to rewrite and shorten this headline. Although that is a great headline. Let's see what happens. Coffee house dedicated, yikes. Alright. Coffee house. Maybe we'll have to shorten it to coffee house and get more details in the subheader. Let's see what the subheader is. Okay, we might have to do a 2-line there. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so everything needs to move down. That's not so hard. So I'm going to select all of the elements that belong with this article. And with the keyboard, I'm just going to push them down. And I'm going to select them all one more time. And this time, I'm going to zoom in and just push them up on the keyboard until this line here meets up perfectly there. That's great. So that is good there. All right, now it's time to start putting in the article. All right, here's the name. And if you just copy piece by piece, the text formatting will already be there. So I'm selecting Command V. There we go. Great. And the next one is just grabbing the entire article. Command C. What you might like to do is just put it here on the side so you can see it. There's our whole article. Or you might like just to go in and put it directly in. Alright, so we have a problem. There's text overset right there. This is bad news. If you ever see this symbol, that means there's text overset and you need to fix it. Ideally, we want to get the entire article onto one page. But if we need to have it continued on a different page, that's what we need to do. But we have a bit of space to work with here, so let's see what we can do right now. Alright, so we still have text overset. We might either need to go and rework this from the beginning and get rid of the sidebar, or we'll have it continue inside. But there's still a couple issues. Remember, we have these line breaks between different paragraphs. Now we need to have a break between paragraphs, but here's an opportunity to save some space. We don't need an extra line break there because we have the break of the column. So let's go and delete that. So already that's happening. We have the same thing happening right here. Let's go and delete this one here. And we're still over a little bit. Here's one way to see how much you're over very quickly. Let me get rid of this text over here. So we can link this column to this frame over here. To do that, grab the black arrow tool, click on text overset, and then paste there. Oh, we're barely missing anything. It's one sentence. We might just edit this for content and trim that down. That's almost perfect. All right, let's pretend for a moment that we've actually just shortened this article by one sentence, and it'll fit perfectly. Let's take a moment to make sure that all of the columns are lined up nicely. So we're going to start with the first left column as our reference point. Now we want this line to line up with that line. It's not right now, so we need to fix it. So the simplest thing to do and the simplest way to get more space is just to cut down the picture. We have a bit of space up here, so we can definitely afford to work with that. And we can also just make the picture smaller to make that last sentence fit in. That's probably the easiest way forward, even without editing the article. And surprise, surprise, just with that little change, we no longer have text overset. There's nothing that's overset there. That worked out really nicely. Alright, now what's not working out nicely right now is we don't have the correct spacing between the captions and credit and the beginning. So simply we just make the picture a little bit smaller and we're good to go. Often you'll do a layout 2 and 3 times just to make it fit. We have a fixed amount of space and we can't get more. So this is going to come up a little bit more. And now this will get lowered. And this will go up in space. And almost like magic, when you say photo credit, we have an article. It's laid out. Page 1, which looks pretty good. Let's press save. And the only couple remaining issues. The line work is not right. So to fix it, bring a guideline up to the point where it's going to end. So we need to extend this line between here and there. So that just pulls up. Nice, sounds good. And I'm just using the space bar. I'm pressing the space bar while I'm clicking. Then you can drag a page over. That's perfect there. Oh, and look, there's another error here. We don't need that space there. That's a paragraph, and this is the start of another paragraph. There we go, that works nicely. And let's just check the baseline. We want the divider line to come just to the baseline of our text, and that's perfectly lined along there. That's good. This one's messed up. Let's fix this one. This might seem like fussy attention to detail, but it's what separates something that looks really polished from something that looks kind of thrown together. So this first one is not approved. Now, even though the text doesn't come to the bottom here on these last 2 columns, the text comes to the bottom over there, so we'll just use that same line. And with any luck, that is good. Just zoom out to have an overall look. I'm happy with that, so I'm going to save it. That's how you lay out an article using some of the existing resources. Oh, that can be better. Fuss, fuss, fuss. No, that's worse. That's good. Save. Let's hope it's saved. Always back up your work. I say this all the time, but back it up. Back up your work. Thanks for watching.